This is the way we saw it. On our first visit to Alaska in 1998, the mountains were completely obscured for a whole week. Weren't we lucky this time? Of the many national parks in Alaska, Denali is by far the most visited and most renowned. A few hours south of Fairbanks, we find a great private campground. The ones in the park were all filled. But we were very happy with this lovely campsite. We visit the park's kennel where we meet the sled dogs. Ernie makes a contribution. We see another sled dog demonstration, but this time it's not racing dogs but working dogs. Much of the park's work is done by sled dogs. A handsome fella, this one. We are allowed to pet the dogs. On the afternoon that we arrived at the park, we can only drive a short way into the park, and this is the tantalizing view we have of some of the scenery and some of the flowers. Wild sweet pea abound here. We take the bus trip into the park all the way to Wonder Lake on a perfectly cloudless morning. We will see Denali the Great One. Our first view. We took the 5:15 a.m. trip, the very first one, and we see morning light on Mount McKinley. Mount McKinley or Denali. Both names are commonly used by Alaskans. We saw quite a few caribou, but no bears on this trip. They say that on cloudy days you see more wildlife, but we were happy with our mountain views. This is the green school bus that takes you into the park. No private cars are allowed. The views of the Great One become brighter and closer. We have frequent stops to get off the bus and revel in the scenery. Let's just enjoy some of that glorious scenery on such a splendid day. Everyone on the bus had their photo taken here at the first view of the full Alaska range with McKinley in all its glory. Denali, up close and personal. This is another dramatic mountain in the Alaska Range. After 5.5 hours, we arrive at Wonder Lake. Such clear water, but not the Denali reflection that we had hoped for. The caribou look pretty scruffy here. We saw a Dall sheep at a distance. Most of our trip into the park is above timberline, at only 3,000 feet or so. Here are some panoramic views. By the time we left Wonder Lake, some clouds had begun to build up. We were still pinching ourselves over our good luck with the weather, however. In case you wondered, all the stops were well equipped with facilities. Back into the timber now, and a view of a braided stream. And this marks the end of our glorious trip into Denali National Park. The Alaska license plate depicts the famous trek over the Chilkoot Trail. But we're not finished with Denali quite yet. Several days later, we could see that the weather would be just perfect for a flight-seeing trip around the Great Mountain. So we drive to Talkeetna for the most expensive and most rewarding hour and a half we've ever experienced. Our pilot and co-pilot and 6 passengers. I am so excited and happy. Come fly with us and see some of the most spectacular scenery in the world. There were a few photo ops. Well, we took hundreds of photos with 3 cameras. Starting at about 2,000 feet in Talkeetna and ascending rapidly to 20,000 feet, we all needed oxygen. We saw every type of glacier imaginable. We could zoom in on one of the climbing camps. Of the 900 or so climbers who attempt the summit in a year, only half are successful. Sometimes it seemed that we got perilously close to the cliffs. We hope you have enjoyed just a few, that's right, just a few of the photos we took on this magnificent flight. As we come down at the lower elevations, the glacier has brilliant blue pools. And the snow forms some strange formations. We're coming down now. And once more we see some green. To use a cliché, what goes up must come down, and we're a few seconds from landing, with a lifetime of beautiful images and memories. We enjoy walking around the small town of Talkeetna and visiting some of the galleries and the tourist stuff. I kinda wish I'd taken this photo. The museum in Talkeetna features a ranger talk on climbing Denali. The scale model of the mountain shows the route. The photos on the walls show the same view that you are looking at on the model. Now we must go on to the rest of the story of our wonderful Alaska adventure.